Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:06. It's O'Connor and Company charging into the second half of our Halloween extravaganza. Coming up in 30 minutes, we're going to talk to an actual exorcist, the exorcist in the D.C. Archdiocese, Monsignor Stephen Rossetti. We'll talk about demons, frankly, and spiritual warfare, and the actual origins of Halloween. A lot of Christians out there think that they shouldn't acknowledge Halloween, that it's, pagan, it's demonic. Actually, it's quite the opposite.
It's quite Catholic.
It is quite Catholic. Coming up at 8:05, Virginia Attorney General Jason Miyares doing a victory lap. He won. The good guys won on some voting integrity issues in Virginia. Then at 8:35, KT McFarland. That's Mercedes Schlapp right there in her Halloween costume, and I'm Larry O'Connor.
In my orange vest. That's going to be my Halloween costume. Matt has an orange vest, and I'm literally going to deck it out. Like I'm going to do it yourself kind of Halloween costume.
Oh, you're going to
in honor of President Trump.
You're going to bedazzle it. You're going to get all the spangles going.
I'm going to bedazzle it with duct tape and then go out and be like, I'm going to drive a garbage truck. Like, this is so Trump. I love it.
Well, that's what Donald Trump did yesterday after Joe Biden called Trump supporters, 50% of the country, garbage. He then emerged in Green Bay, Wisconsin from Trump Force One wearing an orange sanitation worker's safety vest, climbed into a garbage truck, and held a press conference speaking to the media about how he's going to take the garbage out of the White House if he wins this Tuesday. It was what an iconic moment this was. And he kept the orange vest on as he emerged on the stage after being introduced by Super Bowl winning quarterback and hometown hero Brett Favre there in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Then he gets out on stage and he wore the orange vest during the entire rally. I mean, it's moments like this
it was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. And we talked about this, that, to pull that off in less than 24 hours takes an incredibly talented presidential advance team to find a garbage truck, to wrap it with the Trump Vance, type of, what do you call it? The billboard or whatever, the name of it. And then getting him to getting an orange vest. I mean, the whole 9 yards. They pulled this production off very successfully, and I thought it was just a brilliant move by the Trump campaign.
By the way, they also had some cameras on him as he was on the plane before he emerged. This is cut 21, talking about getting off his plane and dressed as a garbage man.
Hello, everybody. This is Donald Trump, and 250 million people are not garbage.
Yeah, it's just that simple. And God, did he again? There's this concept in politics, earned media, where you're not spending any money on ads, like the McDonald's thing. McDonald's ran for like 4 days.
Brilliant. Yes.
That B-roll of him, and it's so engaging, and and that the media couldn't. They, even when they were criticizing him and bad-mouthing him, they still played the video, which is gold, right? So here's what happened. CNN, Wolf Blitzer, he's got a panel discussion. Obviously, whatever the topic was, it was negative toward Donald Trump. But then they had to break in with this news. Cut 22.
Trump is answering some questions from reporters.
Joe Biden to make that statement, it's really a disgrace. How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
So Wolf Blitzer cuts in. Donald Trump is taking answers from reporters, and they cut immediately. Yes, he was taking answers from the reporters, but he was sitting in a garbage truck.
I mean, it was brilliant. And then he's able to dominate the narrative and dominate the social media. I mean, between the Joe Rogan interview that lasted 3 hours, got over 30 million views. Remarkable.
Over 40
where
now,
he literally tackles every single topic. On top of that, he does the McDonald's, working the shift, and then now the garbage truck. I mean, it's just, he's just dominating when it comes to the PR battle, for sure.
And we have to remind everybody that not everyone is plugged into the news cycle the way we are. We're into it. We're obsessed. This is what we are plugged into. So think about people who maybe weren't paying attention for the last 24 or 48 hours, and they see this image of Trump in an orange vest driving a garbage truck. And so, of course, they're going to say, why is he doing that? Why is he dressed like a garbage man? And then someone will say, oh, because Joe Biden called all his supporters garbage. So he's continuing this news cycle so that everybody knows that Joe Biden thinks you're garbage.
It was like an October surprise with the Joe Biden and the garbage comment. I mean, he totally sabotaged Kamala Harris's
Do you think he did it on purpose?
night.
Do you think he did it on purpose? I want to believe
no,
he did
I
it
don't
on
think
purpose.
he's that competent. I really don't. I think it came out. He made the comments of, the garbage, and it was it really slipped. And then what did the White House staff do? They added the apostrophe. So then the media protected him by saying, "Oh, this was a tongue slip. This wasn't real."
No,
you know what I mean? It was a real slight mistake. Well, mistake. Come on.
The only slipping tongues over there in that house is whatever the heck Hunter Biden is up to. Can we get to cut 24 here? This is a great moment. He gets out there on the rally stage in Green Bay. He's got his orange vest, and this is how he addressed the guy. And understand, this isn't just about the people in that arena. This is about everybody watching live across the country. Listen.
And I have to begin by saying 250 million Americans are not garbage. This week, Kamala has been comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. And now, speaking on a call for her campaign last night, crooked Joe Biden finally said what he and Kamala really think of our supporters. He called them garbage. No way. No way. And they actually mean it, even though, without question, my supporters are far higher quality than Crooked Joe or Lion Kamala. Higher quality. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. That's true. You can't be president if you hate the American people, which I believe they do.
Yeah, it was powerful. And, everybody's talking about how Kamala Harris was making her closing argument. She's making her final pitch. She's doing it, and no one's paying attention to it because Joe Biden upstaged her, and, of course, Trump yesterday with the garbage truck upstaged her. But you want to hear a final pitch? You want to hear a closing argument to the American people? Well, I got one for you.
They have called us racists, bigots, fascists, deplorables, irredeemables, Nazis, and they called me Hitler. They bullied you, they've demonized us, they've censored us, they've deplatformed us, and they weaponized the power of our own government against all of us. They've taken your money, they've thrown open your borders to criminals and terrorists, they've flooded your towns with deadly drugs and death. They're incompetent people, they've given your jobs to illegal migrants and sent our blood and treasure to fight in stupid foreign wars where the countries don't even know who we are and where we've never heard of the country. This Tuesday is your chance to stand up and declare you are not going to take it anymore.
That is a powerful closing argument. And that's where we are. All right. I want your reaction to that and more of the stagecraft here with the garbage. Everyone's saying it's a stunt. Of course it's a stunt, but it's an effective one. And I'd love for Mercedes to give us her 2 cents on it as well. In a moment, though. First, 7:15 WMAL traffic and weather every 10 minutes. First on the fives. It's Jamie Whitten, all dressed up for Halloween in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center. What is that, Elvira? That's a throwback. Good for you.
Bow wow. Elvira.
Not that Elvira. Not that one. Yeah, all right. Never. Mercedes, I know that everyone's going to be getting orange vests for their Halloween costumes today, or going to dress up like garbage men with MAGA hats or something. It's just become this iconic thing. How important is this in politics? Not just the imagery and the messaging, but also when the other side does something like this. When Joe Biden says the quiet part out loud, they're calling it a gaffe. Remember Michael Kinsley's definition of a gaffe, when a politician accidentally tells the truth. When Joe Biden accidentally tells what's really on his mind, what he really thinks of us, that's called a gaffe. And when the other side does that, and then Trump turns it into a positive for him and turns it into a rallying cry, That's the kind of intangible in an election that you can't plan, you can't predict, you can't budget for, but it really does make a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, I think that on campaigns, you're always either playing on offense or playing on defense, right? And what I have found right now with the Trump campaign is that they're playing on offense. He is coming across being the joyful candidate with an optimistic vision for America. Really, I actually think Donald Trump is actually having so much fun on the campaign trail. And you as a, if you're out on being on the outside looking in, you're basically saying, which campaign do I want to be part of? Then you have Kamala Harris, on a dark night on the ellipse, trying to recreate January 6th, calling Donald Trump a tyrant, sounding angry the whole entire time. And there's no vision for America. What's the vision? It's the same vision. It's the same policies that you've had for the past 3.5 years. And so I just feel like her campaign, and you've seen this in these media interviews, Larry, she's on defense constantly, cannot provide what I think is a clear vision for America, and just trying to play off on this. The Trump supporters are fascists. Trump is fascist. Trump is Hitler. And the American people are saying, what are you talking about? Like, I just want to pay my bills. You know what I mean? It's pretty basic. It really is pretty basic.
Yeah, I think that you're right across the board on all of that, especially the whose party do you want to go to? Whose club do you want to be in? Which campaign do you want to spend your time with and hang out with? Because listen, you're making that decision for the next 4 years, right? And they tried their damnedest to demonize him, and they set up this whole thing. Oh, we want to turn the page, and it's chaos, but they're the ones who look chaotic. They're the ones who look angry. They're the ones who were divisive, and people are looking at that and saying, no, we want to turn the page on you.
Yeah, the fear-mongering is horrible coming from the left. I mean, they really are pushing this dangerous rhetoric, which is, I think, one of the reasons why we've seen 2 assassination attempts on Trump.
Yeah.
I do want to point to Sean Davis, who I really love. He's with the Federalist. I love his tweet because he expressed what I feel. He goes, I'm going to be sad after this campaign because no politician will ever be this funny or entertaining on the campaign trail ever again. He's one of a kind. And I will say I have worked with so many different politicians, and I do believe that President Trump, I mean, he is just so unique. He is such a unique figure in politics where he has created this massive movement of people who will follow him. And what worries me sometimes is I've talked to individuals who say, I'll vote for Donald Trump, but I won't vote for like the Virginia Republican candidate. And you're just going, dude, Trump can't run. Like, Trump cannot succeed in his agenda unless we have a Republican majority in the Senate and a Republican majority in the House.
That's right. Oh, anybody who's going to vote for Trump in Virginia, hung cow better get the same number of votes that Donald Trump gets. Don't be splitting your ticket, you guys.
Yeah.
One other thing, you're so right about. I was looking at social media as this thing played out. You open up X and you say, okay, what's going on? And suddenly you see this image of Trump with the orange vest in a garbage truck taking questions from reporters, and I just, you can't not laugh, and you can't not, just marvel at what's happening right now. And I started scrolling, and I saw liberals, I saw Democrats who support Kamala Harris who don't have Trump derangement syndrome. They just, they are who they are. They're liberals. And they were reacting to it, and they say, okay, I'm cracking up right now. I mean, even they they're cracking up.
You
they said,
will
I gotta
never
admit
look at a garbage worker in the same way, Larry. Like, I want to go and hang, I want to go out there and just be like, hey guys, you guys rock. Like, seriously, think about it.
But
they are the forgotten men and women. They are the groups that Trump has spoken to time and time again. And to be able to like be in the car, and it's a great photo of the guy who was driving the garbage truck. I mean,
who did a selfie with him? Yes,
he was
fabulous.
So excited. He's like, he couldn't believe it. He's like, how great is it to be an American? All
right. But then, as if that weren't enough, I then check back about 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, and there he is at the rally on the stage, still in the orange vest. And so cut 28. Trump explains why he's still wearing the vest.
And they said, it would be unbelievable if you could wear it on stage. I said, and I said, no way. I got 25,000 people standing outside. I got all these people here. There's no way I'm wearing it on stage. They said, oh, okay, sir. I said, get me my jacket. But if you did, it actually makes you look thinner. I said, and they got me. I said, I want to wear it on stage.
All right. So, again, working the crowd masterfully, incredible timing, great storytelling. And then what's so important for a politician, because you can work the crowd and you can have these moments, but then you got to bring it and you need to make it mean something. Cut 29. Watch what Trump does here.
When they said I look thinner, I said, in that case, I'll wear it on stage. I may never wear a blue jacket again. I may go. I may go in this. I said that. That was the word. That was the key. Sir, you look thinner. So anyway, we had a little fun about a very serious subject. We had a little fun about a time where our country is not having a lot of fun because we're not doing well as a country, but we're going to be doing well very shortly. I promise you that.
See, that pivot right there. Yeah, we had some fun. But we had some fun about something very, very serious, and then it mattered, and then it meant something, and then he made it a rallying cry for the election. That's you can't teach that, right? You can't teach a candidate how to do that.
It is so natural political instinct, but more so it's because, I think people, we're tired. We went from the COVID pandemic that literally almost destroyed our kids, destroyed our lives, where we were shut down, our churches were closed. Life sucked. Life really sucked. And then you're saying, I can't, you're trying to play catch up all the time. I can't pay my bills. Things are so much more expensive. You're trying to help those that are in need. It's it just doesn't end. It's this cycle of just feeling stressed out all the time. And so to have a president who's coming in and kind of having knowing these are the problems we have to fix, but while we're fixing those problems, we are going to just have fun. I don't know.
And we're going to enjoy life. We're going to enjoy being Americans. We're going to enjoy each other, and we're going to fix it. And you sort of feel like, okay, I'm going to go with it. Yeah.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It is 7:36. It's O'Connor and Company here on this Halloween morning, All Hallows Eve. Those of you who are in the know, coming up at 8:05, Virginia Attorney General Jason Miyares. And at 8:35, KT McFarland. I'm Larry O'Connor. That's Mercedes Schlapp, my sister from another mother.
Ghostbusters.
Good morning,
Halloween.
Mercedes. Happy Halloween to you, too. Joining us right now, is an actual bona fide exorcist. He is the exorcist for the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C., and I'm sure this has got to be his ringtone on his iPhone. He's also a licensed psychologist and, yes, a Roman Catholic priest. Monsignor Stephen Rossetti, thank you for joining us, Monsignor.
You're welcome, Larry. Mercedes, good to be with you.
This, of course, being Halloween, there's often a fixation on the scary, the demonic, the ghosts, and also dressing up like a Spice Girl, for those of you who participate in that sort of shenanigans. But oftentimes I think it's overlooked that there truly is an element of spiritual warfare and a struggle with the dark side of the world and the universe, Monsignor, and that's sort of where you come in. But people, I think, sometimes write this stuff off as just fiction and make-believe and ghost stories, but why don't you bring a dose of reality to the table here for us?
Well, when you do the ministry that we do in spiritual deliverance, you see, up front and very directly the spiritual combat, and Satan is a real force in the world. I mean, he's chained, he's a fallen angel, but nonetheless, he tempts, and for those who are possessed, he can torment them. And it's so this evening, this All Hallows Eve, can be a very difficult time for the possessed and anyone in this spiritual combat.
Monsignor, a lot of us have been. Oh, sorry, just real fast. I want to follow up because we've been witnessing some trends in our country, especially with young people, over the course of the last several years, and some, frankly, really scary stuff with. I think you've been referring to it as demon brain. Some people will look at it as a mental health problem that people are identifying as animals, people are identifying as God knows what, and when you look in their eyes, they look like they are possessed. What exactly is demon brain, and how do you associate it with some of the disturbing trends that we've seen that many people just write off as psychological problems?
Well, of course, as a psychologist, as you mentioned, I do work with people with mental health issues, but there is can be a spiritual component to it. And the farther down the dark road people go, we've noticed that they actually start thinking and talking like demons. I mean, they really are immersed in evil. And as you mentioned, we've seen cases where in the midst of an exorcism, people's eyes will turn completely black, or they'll turn into snake eyes, these yellow eyes with black dots for pupils. So, and they start thinking they're angry. They're angry at the church, angry at God. They feel victimized and isolated. They think God doesn't care about them. And they really start thinking like someone in the dark world.
Let me ask you, Monsignor, there's been the growth of witch talk. This is witches on TikTok. That seems to be a popular trend right now. Talk to us about what you're seeing on your end with individuals who are kind of dealing with this issue.
Well, Mercedes, it's stunning. Witch Talk says they've had over 40 billion views since their inception, which is incredible. 40 billion.
Crazy.
And there's been a rapid uptick, all the exorcists say so, and new cases. And the majority of them, I would say, are those who were involved in this sort of thing. I mean, we had someone come to us who said, you know, in my 20s, I was doing Ouija boards and doing Anton LaVey and throwing curses and stuff. I thought it was just fun. I meant nothing by it. And she found out later there was something to it, and she's suffering now with demonic affliction.
If anybody out there senses that maybe if there's someone in their life, maybe their children, or maybe they themselves are starting to feel like they're maybe losing control sometimes, or they're feeling like there's some dark forces, what do you suggest they do? How can you probably sort of screen whether someone in your life is actually possessed versus just suffering from mental health issues?
Well, the first thing we always recommend is doing the natural methods. I mean, if you've got some mental issues, see a psychologist, a social worker, whatever, psychiatrist, and rule out if there is some normal mental health issues. But the people who come to us have done that, and and it's not mental health issue, and it's something more than that. And psychiatry, psychology can't really help them, and then they start manifesting these rather bizarre demonic things. I mean, for example, they can't walk into a church. They start praying, and they have this intense reaction to it. And so you say, okay, well, maybe we should look into a spiritual root to this problem.
I got to ask you, obviously for us, we're practicing Catholics. Our kids are going to go out tonight to go trick-or-treating. Any advice to kind of like Catholic parents? And you always get this concern about Halloween and kind of, the demons are out. How do you prepare them to be like, okay, just, how do we deal with an evening like tonight?
Well, my brother used to dress his daughter up as a pumpkin. I thought that was kind of cute, and that was her nickname. We called her Pumpkin, which is fine. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I wouldn't dress my kid up like Satan or a skeleton or death or a witch or anything like that. It's not appropriate. And frankly, given society today, if for very young children, I would go with them. I mean, and older children, I would say, go to houses that we know. I mean, I think this world is not as safe as it used to be. So I would say good, normal fun. And what parents do, for example, they dress their kids up like their favorite saints, and they'll say, pick your favorite saint, which is kind of nice. I mean, it's instructive and holy.
Yeah, the Saint Parade, I got to tell you, is one of my favorite things that my little girls, when they were little, would do over at our Catholic school here. I got to ask you, though, there's been these reports about black masses happening in cities like Atlanta, and I think up somewhere, I believe in New Jersey or New York. Talk to us about that and why we should be concerned. There seems to be like an openness of this kind of satanic cults in these different cities. I mean, they seem very unabashed and trying to push their agenda.
I'm very concerned about America. By the way, I'm a graduate of the Air Force Academy, and I spent 6 years serving our country in the military. The fact that 50 years ago, no one would do that. No one would call themselves a witch or belong to a satanic cult. If they did, they were hidden anyway. But now it's out front. I mean, all of a sudden it's become de rigueur to say, "Oh, I'm a witch. I'm a Satanist," but they don't realize what they're really signing on for. And Satan is real, and he's not out. He's not your friend. He's out to destroy you and control you. And this modern sort of embracing this sort of thing and being out front is a disturbing event in America.
Monsignor, every diocese in America, or around the world, has an exorcist. You're the one for D.C. I got to ask, and I don't mean this to sound like a punchline, but I got to think that you in Washington and your colleague in Los Angeles, you've got to be the two busiest exorcists in America, right? I mean, there's a lot going on in this town.
Yeah,
There's several.
well, I mean, there is a lot going on, but Padre Pio, the famous saint from Italy, Padre Pio said, if you could see all that, which he could, if you could see the demons, the sky in the air, the sky would be black. So Satan's they're very present everywhere. But the good news is that as even the demons will recognize that Jesus is Lord, not Satan. And so while Satan can torment us and torture us at times, he never wins. Jesus always wins. And so when you send your kids out, Mercedes or whatever, just if they feel threatened or whatever, say a little prayer. And if I were your parents, I would bless them before they go out. And confidence. Jesus is Lord. Satan is not.
Yeah, I always like to tell my kids and my friends and colleagues who get depressed and down and scared about what's going on in the world that, listen, we've read the book. We win in the end, so we just got to ride this out. All right, Monsignor, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Happy Halloween.
It's a joy for me. God bless you all.
God bless you. I love Monsignor Rossetti. He does these deliverance prayers once a month. It's he fights the bad guys. He's with his sword and shield. He's ready to go.
There are some badass priests out there, and you think about that. Air Force Academy graduate, and now he's in charge of beating up on Satan on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
I love that.
On the next Vince Coglianese show, the big story that the media absolutely refuses to tell you about today, we've got it 3 o'clock here on WMAL.
Mercedes, we've got the Republicans for Harris, we've got the white guys for Harris, we've got the drag queens for Harris, we got all these various groups for Harris. There's a new one apparently. It's called Guys Who Knocked Up the Help for Harris. This would be Doug Emhoff and the new guy who's now endorsing him, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger yesterday came out in favor, so to speak, in favor of Kamala Harris and endorsed her. I don't know if that's going to make a big difference, though. Do you?
No, of course it doesn't. And Barbara Bush, the daughter of George W. Bush and Laura Bush, also came out endorsing Kamala Harris. Look, these people are the most out of touch Americans that I can find. Which it's just
you're right.
Horrible. Yeah.
The upside is Buzz Aldrin, a real hero who's actually done real heroic things, not just on Hollywood. Buzz Aldrin, who endorsed Donald Trump yesterday, which is
big
kind
news.
of fascinating.
Yeah. Now, look, these endorsements don't mean a lot. The endorsement I would say that means a lot is like a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. because he has a huge following, right? He was running for president.
Votes.
Yeah, he brings votes. Tulsi Gabbard, really interesting. Like, Elon Musk, huge following. These individuals can make a difference. I'm not saying, look, Kamala has Taylor Swift and Beyonce. I think that's significant. Will it really change minds?
Well, I don't know.
See.
She went out of her way to tick off all the Beyonce fans because they said she was going to come and perform and then never sang. So it's 7:53.